Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. I am sitting at the Secret Garden at the Espresso Bar on the Old Town Walking Mall in downtown Winchester with one of my dear friends. Sandy and I have been friends for many, many years, and then the pandemic broke us up.
Yes.
As it did with a lot of my friends. Everybody went into their respective houses, closed and locked the doors, never to be seen or heard from again, but we're back.
Exactly. 5 years later, it worked.
And we're going to talk about a really, really cool organization that you've been involved with for a lot of years, the Virginia German Shepherd Rescue.
Yes, we have groups all over the state of Virginia. We do have a small group of individuals out here. We don't have a large group, but we have adoption events all over the state, Chantilly and other places. So
All German Shepherds.
all German Shepherds. They don't always have to be 100%, as my husband and I found out over the years, but it is for German Shepherds. We've been a rescue since 2001. I think my husband and I joined or got involved a few years later, so we're not quite the old timers, but we're close to it. And since 2001, the group has adopted out more than 5,000 dogs.
What? That is impressive.
That is impressive. We do a lot of fostering, and I can get to that in a minute, but I do want to say that we work with a lot of very sad and then very happy and grateful dogs
Right.
and humans, and our motto is good dogs for good homes. We have fostered many dogs, both when we lived in Chantilly and now in Front Royal. That's always an adventure, but we could again talk about that later.
You guys have run the gamut too, not just German Shepherds, but you've had multiple breeds of dogs. Steve is like a dog whisperer. I gotta say, I gotta give him full props. He is
Absolutely.
like Caesar Milan and is a dog whisperer. He really does have a certain affection though for German Shepherds.
Yes, he grew up with German Shepherds, and so that's his breed of choice. When I met him a number of years ago, he had not a German Shepherd, and now it escapes me what he was, but his name was Buddy, and Buddy was a good dog, and we went on to German Shepherds after we got married. I was not a dog person when we got married.
What?
I was the opposite of dog person. I don't know why my mother did not like dogs, but she was my model, and I didn't like dogs, and somehow I got turned around by Steve, and we got our first Shepherd in 1997. And the first reaction from both my daughter and me was, he's so big. His name was Bert, and he could not have been a better German Shepherd from my first. He was just a wonderful, smart, playful dog. And so I was very lucky, and we've been lucky over the years. We've had mostly Shepherds, some again have been mixed. Currently, our house is lacking a Shepherd, and we have a 14-year-old feisty Lhasa Apso-poodle mix.
Who thinks she's a shepherd?
She's a Shepherd. We got her from a very sad environment. She was neglected. She was a puppy, and someone rescued her, and then we found out about her. So at 6 months, she came into our house, and we had 3 German Shepherds. She taught them who was in charge. We've had them for 14 years, and we get German Shepherd fosters or adoptees, and she tells them what to do. And we've had some wonderful dogs. Our last one was my husband's service dog, Reggie. He was a Shepherd. He was fabulous. And
Reggie was amazing. He was like the coolest dog. We went to dinner with you guys, and Steve brought him with you when the Irish pub was still in Middletown. He came in and literally laid at Steve's feet. People came and went. The waitress came back and forth to the table. He was not bothered by any of it, and Steve so much as clears his throat, and he's looking to make sure, oh wait, do you need me? Is there something I can do for you? He was such a good dog.
he was a great dog. He died way too soon and very suddenly. But the summer before he died, and actually a few years before he died, not counting the pandemic, he went to at least 10, if not 15 concerts at Wolf Trap at Vienna. And
He's a very well-cultured dog.
He's very well-cultured. He liked Steve Miller and Weird Al. But the highlight for us, maybe not for him, was that he got to see Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden. And we went up to New Jersey. We stayed in New Jersey. He was on the New Jersey Transit. Not easy for a dog. He was in the garden, and people just stopped in his wake because he was just gorgeous and smart. And he's missed very much. And as Janet noted, by the time this airs, we might have a new shepherd in the house. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping that works out.
We're sitting here at the Espresso Bar on Friday, September 5th. People are listening. If they're listening on the radio, they're listening on the 10th of September. So this coming weekend, in between when we're recording and when people are listening, Molly may make an entrance into your house. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Okay, thank you. So is Steve.
So let's talk about rescues in general, because you know that our 2 dogs came from the Winchester SPCA, which is a rescue of sorts.
Correct.
But I'm not sure how actual rescues work. Where do the dogs come from that land at Virginia German Shepherd Rescue?
We're not dissimilar to other rescues in terms of getting dogs from just about everywhere. They can come from shelters, even though we're Virginia German Shepherd Rescue, because that's where we do all of our adoption events. We've gotten rescues from many, many states. We've gotten them from Maryland, we've gotten them from DC. We had a rescue a number of years ago that we fostered, came up from Texas.
Oh.
And he had been in a very bad situation. And between getting pilots who have their own planes, bringing them to different states, and again, that happens in a lot of rescues. One of the cool things is if there's a rescue that needs some transport from, say, North Carolina into Virginia, there are people in their cars, pick them up in North Carolina, drive them to Roanoke, and then drive them to... We had a couple of those trips where you just pick them up, you drive for an hour and get them to someone else, and that's worked out well. But the rescues come from all over. People no longer can take care of their dog. There are divorces, there are elderly, there are deaths. There are people who abuse their dogs, and sometimes they're reported. We go and get the dogs. People realize they can't handle them. And one of the things that has come up, because it's been 20 years since Katrina was the first major event, hurricane, awful event, where Americans started realizing people were escaping. Not always successfully, but they were escaping to find shelter. And some shelters, not dog shelters, but shelters where you could go, wouldn't accept dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a different world. They just wouldn't accept dogs. Some people stayed with their dogs or their animals. I think that really brought an understanding of how important our pets are, our animals. Mm-hmm. That has changed from what I can see a lot.
Oh, the wildfires in California is a perfect example of that. Is you saw so many shelters opening that did allow people to bring their animals. Right. There were fire and rescue personnel that were going back to houses to save people's dogs because they weren't even home when the fire got so close in order to take them with them when they left. So I think that's great, because I think people grossly underestimate, as someone like you who not in a million years ever thought I'd find myself with 1 dog, much less 2, people just don't seem to understand the impact they can have on day-to-day life.
Absolutely. The house is so quiet if she's at the spa getting a treatment.
Right. Yes.
So
you guys get a phone call, say, from someone that says, hey, we have this dog or we have these dogs. And then you say, okay, we can accommodate. And then I'm guessing you have a network of people within your organization that you can reach out to and say, hey, we've got this dog or that dog. And you work out the logistics from that perspective. How does that work?
Absolutely. When we first moved out here, I think Steve was one of the people on the list from the Humane Society to call if they had a shepherd. We're talking 14 years, but yes, there's a network. We have a president, vice president. We have a governing body, board of directors.
You're a 501c3,
correct,
full-on nonprofit organization. Important to note.
The organization has different levels of who do you call. We can call this person, and I think animal shelters in different parts of the state, because I can only talk about the state, know who they might call, or somebody calls an emergency number. They found a dog. What do we do with this dog? Maybe they don't call the shelter, or it's a German Shepherd. There's a lot of ways that the organization and the people in the organization get told about what's going on. Once in a while, I'll get a message from a friend who said, I don't know if you're still involved, but we have this dog or something, and I do direct them to the German Shepherd Rescue. Or if that's not working and they have to go to the shelter, I'm dismayed when I see people put stuff on Facebook and they go, well, I don't want to call the shelter. I'm afraid they'll do something to them. No, get them off the street. And I'm going to say this because I can. It just drives me crazy when I see notes about, oh, there's this dog I found somewhere. And people will find them, and that's great. The dog doesn't have any kind of identification. Microchips are great because you can go and have it checked. We had a dog running around in our yard a few years ago, and our dogs went bananas. It's a cute little dog, and it ran up, and my husband was able to figure out that the dog had a collar. It said, if lost, call this number. Boom. The guy lived in another community near us. But if that's not on there, so I'm just saying that. That's my public service announcement, whether you want to hear it or not. And I will tell you, I've gotten those dog collars at Subaru. We have a Subaru. They like dogs. They print them out. I don't, whatever. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I will confess that our dogs both are microchipped. That was part of the deal when we got them from the SPCA. We have a hidden fence, so they have to wear a collar in order to go outside. I should probably put something on that collar that identifies them in some way, because if they're going to get out of the yard, people aren't going to know from this green collar that has this thing on the front of it, oh, that's Janet's dog. I should call her. So I should do that. I always just assume, well, they're not going to go anywhere, and they don't until they do.
Exactly.
And so what is it they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure?
So I got my service announcement out. I'm very excited because
microchipping collars, people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And some of that comes with when you adopt a dog, but we get them from a lot of places, and then once they're in the rescue, there's no building. We're not the Humane Society. There's no building. It's people, again, different parts of the state, and a call goes out on email, or we get a phone call saying, we have this dog, it's in this shelter, so-and-so is holding it, but we need a foster, we need someone who can keep it for a while, there's emergencies. And so that is an excellent network, but there's always way too many dogs.
And not nearly enough fosters, which is something people can do. So they could actually reach out to you and say, hey, that's something that I feel like I could do. Maybe I can't write you a check that has a comma in it, but I can certainly help you in those situations to foster a dog, to maybe help find a home for that dog. You're looking for members to be part of that organization.
Right. And also, if you just say, I want to be involved with the rescue, I don't have a car where I can put a dog, or I can't do this, volunteers. Right now, I'm volunteering because I'm working, we're going to talk about the German Shepherd golf tournament coming up. I'm the volunteer doing that. You can do stuff, answer the phones, or be that intake person. There's always room for volunteers. All of the materials are on our website, and we'll give you that information. Can you do this? Can you volunteer? Can you be a foster? There are forms you have to fill out. If you want to adopt, you do have to fill out some forms. A member or two, a volunteer or two from the organization come to your house to see what the house looks like. That's true of most places. You want to make sure you're a real person, because adopting out a dog.
In most cases, you're getting an animal from a situation that wasn't ideal. Correct. So you certainly do not want to then send that animal into another situation that may not be ideal when you have the control over where that animal goes. So why wouldn't you take those precautions?
Correct.
Let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk about the golf tournament, because none of this happens for free necessarily. You need to fundraise, you need to do all of the things to keep this organization running. Can you give me details for the golf tournament in the next segment?
I will do that, absolutely.
We are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Sandy Schwab. She is a foster mom. She is an adopted mom. She is a former board member, all of the Virginia German Shepherd Rescue. We're going to get details about their golf tournament coming up on the 19th of September when we come back in just a couple of minutes. Hello, nonprofits. Have a project that's been sitting on the back burner? United Way NSV's Day of Caring returns on September 19th, and your nonprofit can be a part of it. This is the region's largest single-day volunteer event with over 900 volunteers ready to help. Whether it's painting, landscaping, organizing, or repairs, Day of Caring gives your organization hands-on support and saves thousands in maintenance costs. It's simple. Submit your project, let United Way match you with a team, focus more of your budget on what matters most, your mission. Learn more at unitedwaynsv.org/Day of Caring, or reach out to dayofcaring@unitedwaynsv.org. Let us send helping hands your way. Welcome back to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. We are recording the show today from the Secret Garden at the Espresso Bar on the Old Town Walking Mall in downtown Winchester. I got to give props to the dude that just walked in with Snow White Girl hamburgers. Kudos to you, dude. Best fries and best burgers ever. Sandy and I are talking today about the Virginia German Shepherd Rescue. Sandy has been a foster mom. She has been an adopted mom. She's served on their board. She is a volunteer. Steve, her husband, has done all of the things as well. And volunteering is a little bit of what we're talking about today, Sandy, because you guys have a golf tournament that's coming up on September 19th, and you're still looking for sponsors. You're looking for people to donate items to the auction because fundraising is a vital part of what you do to keep this organization alive.
Absolutely. Like most nonprofits, money. People, money. We're dealing with dogs, some of which we know are okay or up on their shots, but a lot of dogs we get for every reason you can imagine. Even if it's someone in a divorce that has to give the dog up, maybe the dog just needs more attention. But health issues, we need money. And bottom line, this year will be the 17th year the rescue will be hosting a golf tournament at Blue Ridge Shadows Golf Course in Front Royal. And we have an auction, a silent auction, which we hold late afternoon, early evening. We're always looking for stuff we could put in the auction. So far, we do have 2 homes, summer homes, getaway homes that would usually be rented. And one's in Kill Devil Hills.
Ooh.
The other I can't remember off the top of my head, but we have that kind of...
Probably has an ocean.
There is an ocean involved, and it is on the East Coast. We've gotten gift cards. We've gotten some restaurants that I've been working, because we have people in Winchester and around
Other
the
volunteers.
state, in Fairfax. We've got a few places in town, some pizza places, a few restaurants. We have a florist shop in town making a beautiful centerpiece, winter, fall theme. We had one last year. It was very nice. We've got a massage therapist in town who's offered a free massage. We have a coupon from her. And again, I'm not up to date on some of the others in Winchester or the surrounding area. We sometimes get from Fairfax County as well. So money helps, donations always help, but for this, we're looking for silent auction items. Golfers, you can be on your own or foursome. It's the 19th, a Friday, a week and a half from when you hear this. The golf tournament starts at 1 o'clock, but registration starts around 11. And if you've been to Blue Ridge Shadows, they have a
Beautiful course. The clubhouse is pretty
quite
nice.
And a lot of people show up early and either have breakfast, hamburgers, some drinks. I don't know. I don't golf. All right. And everything.
A lot of people golf the way I bowl, which is better with a beer.
I'm not talking, but people show up early. Again, everything starts around 1. Everything is set up for the golfers. All kinds of goodies we get from different companies and organizations, golf tees and other things. They go out and do their thing. Many of the holes are sponsored by individuals or businesses, another way to donate. We have sponsorships ranging from $100 up to $5,000. Even at $100, you can get a sign placed on a hole for your business. I will say Steve and I have done that over the years, and ours for the last 2, now this year too, is in memory of Reggie. We have a picture of him because he was a great dog and a great service dog. You can do that kind of stuff for $100. And so we have some businesses who are stepping up and doing that. It's a volunteer organization, so we have to depend on each other to get the information to each other.
Right.
Email has been great. But all of that information is on our website, which is www.vgsr.org. You can tell I'm old because I have to say www.
Okay, so just for that reason, I'll leave it in. Normally, I edit it out when people say www. But for you, I'll just leave it in. And VGSR, Virginia German Shepherd Rescue.org. And I will tell you from a marketing perspective, I am always telling clients and small businesses at seminars and things that I do that there are 2 things that if you can align your business with, people will follow you. And animals are one, dogs in particular. So to spend $100 to be a tea sponsor at an event that is going to help support the German Shepherd Rescue, I think is money very well spent. If you have a small business and you are a potter and you want to give some pottery items, or you make candles and you want to do some sort of thing to give as a silent auction item, people remember that that's where they got that, and they align themselves with you and show you a little bit more loyalty because you're supporting something that they also want to support. So I am all in. I think anybody listening should email Sandy and say, hey, we want to give something, we want to donate something. And you have an email set up for that, golf@vgsr.org. That's easy.
Yes, so anything you can think of, if you have an idea for, and I know it's running close to time, but in terms of donations to the silent auction, time, I won't say that on behalf of the woman who is running the silent auction and would hate if I said, listen, if something comes up and you think you have something.
And it's the day before, we will figure it out. But
one of us, depending on where you are, one of us can get going on that, not a problem, because you never know. Some of the items would also be golf related, but it's a wide range of interesting stuff. And again, you never know. You show up, and some young man last year from the tournament had seen there was a number of items for women. It was this basket someone had given us.
Because we're the shoppers.
So he won the bid. He won it, and he picked up what he had, and then he said, "Can't wait to show my girlfriend. She's going to love this." Score! We raise money that way. We raise money through our website if you want to donate.
People can go there and just make a donation, recurring or one time only.
Correct. This is our big fundraiser, but things need to be done during the year. There are times we get a dog, we decide we will take that dog in, but the dog might need surgery or some care that really would put us in the hole if we had to fundraise. And most of the time, there might be a call through our Facebook page or website saying, I'll give you some money. And it adds up, and then we can get a dog through no fault of their own who's been...
medical care that they need.
Exactly, and it's so heartwarming to see that. Times are tough. There's a lot that we're going through in terms of who can give money. Small businesses are having a tough time, but I will tell you, I was in a restaurant the other day. A young man who was the manager gave us a gift card, but before he did that, he goes, let me show you my German Shepherds.
Right.
And they were beautiful and gorgeous, and then he gave us a gift card. So there's a lot of, I live in Front Royal, so there's a lot of businesses who have been very supportive. And I will say I was running up and down Main Street. I haven't hit everybody, but in every business I've gone into and said, could you put the flyer up?
That helps too.
Yeah.
If they go and search Virginia German Shepherd Rescue on Facebook and see your posts and share them on their own page, that has value to it as well, particularly if they can't give you $10, $100, or $1,000.
And the flyer this year, it might have been last year too, but the flyer this year is very cool. And there's a QR code. So someone puts it in their window, you could stand there, and it takes you to the page where you can register, which I think...
makes it easy.
Yeah, and I think the one who says www thinks that's really cool. Why not?
Then I won't tell you about how I have seen dog collars, going back to what we were talking about earlier, that all you do is put a QR code on them and somebody can scan it, and then it immediately calls, it gives an email address, it's all of the information you would want somebody to have if they find your lost dog. I'm going to get you a QR code collar for Jem.
Excellent.
And maybe even for Molly if she comes home.
If she comes home, fingers crossed, fingers crossed.
So if somebody is listening today and they want to adopt, they have always wanted a German Shepherd, or they've always had German Shepherds and they didn't know that your organization existed, how would they do that?
You go to the website and it will have a section that says dogs. And the current dogs in need of adoption will be listed in alphabetical order. Before they're posted on there, they're being fostered by an individual. Again, Steve and I had done that, and many people will foster dogs. You have to write up a bio. In fact, that is how Steve came across Molly, because he's been looking for a shepherd, and we know the rescue.
Does she like long walks on the beach?
Yes.
And
she better like small dogs, because
Yes,
our
she
other
better.
dog is small and old
And
and feisty.
Love you, Steve, but grumpy old men. She better like grumpy
She
old
better
men
grumpy
and
old
small
men.
dogs.
Right. Grumpy old men who know how to make sure she is a good dog. But anyone can go online, no obligation, you can look, and again, there's a bio, there'll be an email to the person who is fostering the dog, and you can contact them, see what's what. The thing you'd have to do then is get the paperwork in order to adopt. And you have to fill out paperwork, and
You have to do that no matter what.
Right.
No matter where you go.
Who
you
can
still
say
have to
you're
do that.
good, who's your vet, whatever. I don't remember all the things. It's paperwork, like a lot of other things. And that can be done rather easily. But there is a lot of information on the website. There's one place you go and it's got the forms, all the forms you would need. And also you can get some information about being a foster. So being a foster, the paperwork is a little different, but being a foster, I say this all the time, is not for the faint of heart. You may not know what you're getting. And I was telling Janet about a wonderful foster we had, Harley. Oh, he was a great dog. He had issues in terms of I shouldn't have left my sneakers out that have this bungee cord. And so we came home and he had bitten off the bungee cord, and it shouldn't occur to me because I was used to having dogs who were trained.
Right.
And you bring in a foster and you just have to...
You have to literally start from scratch and assume that they don't know anything and that the things they do know are all the bad things, and prepare and brace yourself for that.
Even if you have a house full of dogs, and many of us do, they know the rules. You bring in someone who doesn't know the rules. But it's not that it's daunting, but you have to be prepared to just deal with something you don't know. And you might have been a foster and you might have adopted. And so you know what it's like to bring in someone new. The fosters are really important because if you get a dog and a critical call and say, look, we need someone.
You have to have a place to send that animal.
And again, we've all done it. And if you can't do it, obviously, you can't adopt, you can't foster. There's things you can't do. If you can volunteer, if you can donate.
You can help set up at a golf tournament. You have adoption events. If you can come give a couple of hours to just wander around with people and introduce them to dogs, if you can give your time to help manage your social media or make updates on a website, or I don't know, meet with an old friend at a coffee shop to do a radio interview. All of those things are volunteer worthy.
That's one of my favorites, but it has to do with the coffee. And if you know Janet,
This is actually our second day in a row of meeting to record this show, because we actually met after the live show with Gaz last week, as people are listening on the radio, and then we caught up for 2.5 hours and never got to record the show, so we had to come to Winchester the next day to sit and do this.
It's so rewarding. Again, I didn't like dogs. I had a shepherd. I've always had shepherds except for our little 14-year-old Lhasa Apso-poodle mix who runs the roost. But it's mind-boggling how I've become the dog mom and
Right?
the dog lady.
You and me both. I totally get it. And I also want to say before we wrap up that a lot of times German Shepherds get a bad rap. We see them on television as police dogs, as SWAT dogs, as attack dogs. That's because of their training. Not every German Shepherd is going to lunge at your throat when it sees you. German Shepherds are very gentle animals. They're very loyal animals. They are really good pets, particularly for people with families. So don't let what you've seen in the movies and seen on TV steer you away from fostering or adopting one until you've actually met that particular dog.
And we do that at the adoption events. That's also on our website. The closest one to here right now is Chantilly, and there's a couple of businesses, when I talked to them about the golf tournament, they offered,
Hey, can we do one here?
We used to have one, and there were a number of people who ran it over the years, and the people are busy. The last woman who was doing it has a full-time job, and so it just wasn't that easy for her. But I've been out, and again, a few places have said maybe we could do something out here, and so it might be something. We were in Winchester. Again, it depends on the volunteers who'd be willing to come out, but Potomac Yards and Chantilly and places out like Virginia Beach, we cover the state.
I am going to call my friend Chris Conyer, who's the director of Winchester City Parks, and tell him we would like to do an adoption event at the dog park at Jim Burnett Park. Would you like me to help you with that?
Sure.
See how easy that was?
That was easy.
Listen, everyone, that's how easy it is to volunteer. So VGSR.org, Virginia German Shepherd Rescue.org, Virginia German Shepherd Rescue. Search them on Facebook. All of the details for all of the things from the golf tournament to what it takes to be a foster, to volunteer, to donate, to adopt. All of that is in either of those places. But thank you, Sandy, for meeting up for me day 2 over coffee to give me all the details. I'm glad we got to talk.
Thank you, and I appreciate, again, you're letting me spread the word in the area. So thank you, everybody, for people who've helped, and I might have to bug some more people before the 19th of September, Friday the 19th, at Blue Ridge Shadows Golf Course. if you know the golf courses, that's a cool place, and thank you.
People could show up that day and say, hey, I heard you on the radio. I want to help. Tell me what you need from me. They don't have to golf. They don't have to give anything to the auction. They can just show up that day and say, what can I do to help you in the future?
Absolutely.
You'll have a line out the door and down the hill and
Absolutely.
up to 522.
Absolutely. And then you go in and get a beer at the bar.
Right. Yes, it's perfect. I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today. So meet me back here for that just a few minutes after noon.